Blender 4.2 has been out for a while, but everyone creates these fancy feature lists of the new software. But everyone actually just wants the real deal of what's actually going to be useful to you. So today I'll cover the 3 most important things you need to know in the new version of Blender 4.2. Let's get into it right now. Before we get into the list of the 3, firstly, Blender 4.2 is a LTS version, which if you've worked in a software like Unity, you'll know it's a long-term support, which is great for full productions. Basically, this means that for the next 2 years, we will be getting updates to Blender 4.2. So if you are on a big production or working as a team, it's a good idea to switch to this version and use this with your whole team. This is great, and we've been getting a couple different LTS versions over the past couple years, and they haven't really let people down with them. Great to see this and see Blender becoming closer to industry standard. Alright, if we hop into a Blender, we can get into the first new feature, which is the whole add-on system getting reworked. And now it's known as extensions. And if you want to see it, just go Edit, Preferences, and you'll see you have this new like you have add-ons tab before, but you also have the Get Extensions tab, which is pretty interesting. Let's walk through everything that's actually new with it. Basically, all of the pre-installed add-ons, or at least most of them, have been removed. There's still a couple that are built into Blender, but most of them have been added to a cloud system where you can browse a bunch of free extensions. Basically, the add-ons got renamed to extensions. You can browse a bunch of free extensions and drag them directly into your Blender, and there you go, you have extensions in your software. Now don't worry, you can still install add-ons the exact same way, just by going to the top right in the add-ons tab, go open this and go install from disk. That's all you need to do, and you got it exactly the same. And you can see you have this whole setup. When you upgrade from Blender 4.1 to 4.2, it will give you a pop-up to install your add-ons that you had before. Right, and here is the Blender extensions. You can get a link to it on the site, or just go to extensions.blender.org and you'll get it right there. So you can see here it has a bunch of free extensions that you can literally drag directly into your software. So let me show you. If I can just go split that there, and I have my Blender on my right, and I go open one of these. So maybe we go Node Editor Switcher. If we open this and we go to the Get Add-ons, you can literally just drag and drop, and you'll see it pops open with this thing. Do you want to install the following add-ons? You press OK, bam, it's in your software, it's done, which is really nice. Okay, and another awesome feature with this, with all your add-ons, you can basically get them updated in Blender. So you'll see here with all of these installed add-ons, when there's an update for them, it'll literally just pop up with an update button on the latest version of your extension, which is really cool. And if that isn't working for you, I believe you have to turn the Allow Online Access feature here. Just go to System and you can turn that on and off, depending if you're comfortable with Blender being accessed by the internet. All right, now the second big feature in Blender 4.2 is new updates to cycles. Let's look into that right now. All right, number 1, the Ray Portal node. Basically, what this allows you to do is get a part of your mesh and get it rendered from another section of your scene. So you can see here, this is getting a feed from another part of your scene and rendering that to the actual mesh, which is a really cool new feature. And I can imagine it's going to be so much easier in, especially this case, screens, because before you'd have to render it out and then add it as a video clip, and that's never that great inside of Blender, and all of that is a bit of a nightmare. So being able to do this directly in your scene and just duplicating different parts or just having a separate scene, and that's how you just create a portal or creating screens. I can imagine this is just going to push a lot of people just to try out new things, which is going to be really cool. Okay, this is one thing that is really nice if you end up rendering basically any volumes inside of cycles. You can see that they've changed how quickly it renders, how clean it is, and how fast it renders. So you can see here this comparison of 5 seconds to render this image to 4 seconds to render this is really cool, because rendering volumes is a nightmare and it takes way too long. So this is really nice for people who end up rendering volumes or any of that inside of Blender. Right, and the last thing is changing how noise works inside of cycles. Basically, the original classic has been changed to blue noise. People make this seem a huge thing, but basically this only really changes you at lower sample rates. In my testing, like, you only really kind of get this benefit when you're rendering like 10 samples, 50 samples basically. But if you're making animations and you're going to render at low sample counts, that is really nice. You'll have to do some testing to see if this is useful for you, but with the new Eevee updates, it might be worth just rendering an Eevee. Alright, let's get to the biggest thing, which is Eevee Next, which is basically a rework or just a big update to how Eevee actually runs. Now, you can see all these things in the background. It's just basically a bunch of fancy new features that I'll walk you through right now. Alright, I have this really simple scene right here. It's literally just a plane with some like roughness and some meshes. And this is what Eevee would originally do. You can see this is what it looks like. There's no reflections whatsoever. But with the new system, if I turn on the ray tracing, move my camera out the way. If I turn on the ray tracing, you can see it immediately goes to this reflective look like this, which is really nice. So this is just making Eevee actually usable. Beforehand, meshes just wouldn't use light, which could end up being a huge problem. This is obviously not like amazing yet. I'll show you some later, but there's a couple use cases that don't end up working that well. But already, this is just the first update to it, and it's already looking pretty sick. But this is what's known as screen space rendering. I don't know. So this basically means that whatever's on the screen is what's only going to be rendered. And what I mean by that is if I zoom in, like, these effects don't happen. And if you see, like, there's no real light getting shaded onto the background. And that's because it doesn't actually, it's not on the screen, so it's not rendering it. So you see, as I spin around, it kind of just starts popping in with these reflections as you spin. And let me show you an actual beta test for this. Okay, so we see this scene right here. So I have this blue light and I have this red light. And obviously you can see it's, one of them is, or they're mesh lights. They're not actual physical lights inside our scene. And if I turn ray tracing on and off, you can see that's how different it looks. All right. And what I mean by the screen space is if I zoom in, you can see this whole side of the scene goes completely blue. And you can see if I zoom in here, the entire scene goes red. So that's the whole screen space thing. So if you're going to need more consistency in how the lighting actually works, then it's going to be a bad idea to use these mesh lights. If you've used Eevee before, you'll notice something pretty big in the new update. You get rid of the ambient occlusion and the bloom option. So let me show you why and how to fix it. All right, so if you go over here, you can obviously see no ambient occlusion, no bloom. Firstly, you can see under this ray tracing tab, we can change it to, not ray tracing. If you open this fast GI approximation under ray tracing, and you can see it's global illumination, you can see you can change it back to ambient occlusion. And then that's when you get your like basic things back in the corners, but obviously your mesh lights don't work anymore. But you can see that the ambient occlusion built into this is already pretty decent. So you won't have to worry about this. And in this new version of Eevee, it kind of fixed a lot of the problems we had with light bleeding through corners. So you're not going to really have to worry too much about the ambient occlusion getting removed. If you want this to still be in the renders, you can get this through a specific thing in your like layers. So you can just go to this right panel and then turn on the ambient occlusion, and then this will allow you to do it in your renders. I can show you now. And another thing, so with the bloom, it's been made to actually be more consistent to how it actually should be. So for literally every other post-processing effect, you have to do it in the compositing, and bloom is a post-processing effect. So let me show you how to get it on your scene. So it is actually currently enabled. So if I go up to compositing, and let's change this back to actually a 3D viewport, you can see by default this would be the compositor disabled, and I can turn this on and you can see now I have the bloom. And all you have to do is, if I get rid of this, actually let me show you the proper setup for this. So by default, use nodes is off. Click use nodes, and by default it should have like a render layers, and it should have a output render output compositor. So I plug this into there, and you can see now my rendering is working. And if you have Node Wrangler, I think it actually works by default inside of Blender. Node Wrangler got kind of changed and it's now kind of built into Blender. Pretty cool. But basically, you can go here. If you go shift, right click, and then that just merges them together. I'm going to Shift A, search. I'm going to go for the glare node. Don't add bloom, go for glare. And you can see by default, I get these weird, like kind of sparkly things. And this is the streaks kind of glow. And if I change this from streaks, you can see there is a bloom option. And you can see there's the bloom. If I change mix back to 0, you can see if I go mute this, you can see there is your bloom on your scene. And obviously you can mess around with all these settings exactly like before. Your threshold is basically what parts will get actually have bloom on it. If you want to check that, you can see you can change up the threshold, and this is the actual what bloom is being applied to your scene. So there, and you can also drag this value down if you want to have less bloom. Change the size, you can change the quality. So usually the lower the quality, the bigger the kind of bloom is around. Or you can try out the fog glow, which is the original version of this. So you can see you can change all of this, and all of that is good stuff. But bloom is going to be also obviously closer to how the bloom works inside of Eevee. All right, and when you are working with all these settings, you're going to notice that they have a lot of these like ratios. And basically what these all actually are is a percentage that each effect is going to be rendered at, or what resolution they're going to be rendered at. So if you see here, a lot of them will just say the resolution, and you can see the ratio. If you hover over this, it will say determines the number of raised pixels, blah, 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 and whatever. When you drop this resolution, then that's going to render it obviously a lower thing. So 1 is 16 is going to be the lowest, which is, you can see immediately I get the super pixelated look right here. I don't know if that shows up when we actually render it. Let's see. Yeah, you can see this is what it looks like, but that's because we dropped it to a 16th of the render size. So that's why this is usually at a half or at a 1:1. But other stuff like the volume have been changed to 1/8 or 1:8. Actually, I'm not really sure these settings are default. I might have just been messing around, but yeah. So as I said, everything can be changed. So you can lower these or make these higher depending on what you want. And again, similar to original Eevee, you can change your samples. So you can make this 124 or whatever in your render. It will, as in my testing, it kind of seemed to double the render time each time you double the samples, which makes sense. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't seem to be that worth it. If you want to test these out, you can just set up these slots and then just compare each one to see if they're better. But yeah, let's check out another cool feature. With the new version, you can also get your sky texture, which actually works inside of Eevee, which is cool because beforehand, the environment sky texture did not work, but now it does. And you can see now there are shadows working, and this also works for, if I go environment texture, that's a point density, environment texture, and plug this in, you see everything goes pink. But let me open a HDRI like this one. Let's get a sky. You'll see now there are actual shadows popping up here, and this only happens if you have the shadows turned on in this setting. So basically, if it's just a more like powerful enough light, you can see the more stronger it is, the more harsh the shadow will be. But if you with your HDRIs, they actually got proper shadows and all of that, which just helps it make look a lot more realistic. And I can say that this definitely looks a lot better than it would have inside of the old version of Eevee. Now, another really cool feature in the new version is the actual real displacement, or the physical like bump inside of the new version, which is really cool because I would notice that, especially when I was like working with cycles in Eevee, that I'll just be working on something and then wanted to be able to do a proper displacement that actually moves the vertices around, and you just can't do that in Eevee. It's only in cycles. So this is a really cool new feature, and I'm not even sure why it didn't happen in the previous versions. And you can see there's an update to the subsurface scattering where it basically just doesn't like bleed the colors and all of that. And the volumes have been improved. I'll show you in one of my scenes, but you can see here how buggy it used to be, and now it's just a lot cleaner for working in your viewport. And in the last one, you have motion blur. All good stuff. But yeah, so let me open this other scene. So you can see here I have the scene, and you can see my environment, like all these shadows. This is working real time and doesn't have the super weird glitch that would happen in the older versions of Eevee. So it's just a lot nicer. And I think this is specifically in the viewport. When rendering, it wouldn't really show up, but just being able to see this properly in the viewport is really cool. But one thing I have noticed is that the lighting is not that great. So you'll see here, if I go over here to this front of the scene, you can see here, like, this is how it looks. And I would have thought that this left side, the lights would be working because it's the mesh lights, and just the reflections don't seem to work. Just especially in this scene. In most scenes it works fine, but for some reason, like, this just wasn't working very well. It's just very difficult to get these reflections to actually pop up. And you can see here, this is the right side where I added some textures to it, and this is the reflections of the ground. And on the left side, there are no lights that I added in, and there's just zero reflections, and I don't even know why. And even if you render it, it still doesn't pop up. Alright, so those are my biggest things in the new version of Blender. Let me know what you think and if you're going to be switching. And if you want to learn how to create some cool new renders, try out this new version of Blender, go click over here to watch a video to learn something new. See you.